And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today we're going to talk about raiding parties. Alright, the idea of pirates fighting one another is a fantastic one, where the pirates all board another pirate ship where they're coming and attacking, and I'm frankly surprised that more games haven't dealt with this theme. There's a lot of pirate-themed games out there, but I really can't think of another one where it actually deals with the pirates going after each other, and that could be a really interesting and exciting game. This actually may be that interesting and exciting game. I think it could be. I'm not really sure. Let's take a look at it. When you open up the box for Raiding Party, there's actually two smaller boxes inside, and one of these is the cards that are used in the game, and another is simply a deck of playing cards. Although each of these playing cards, while it has the suit and the numbers at the top, also has a pirate picture on here. And here's where I'm going to say the best thing that I'm going to say about this game, and that's that the artwork is really cool. It's really nice artwork. It has a lot of really unique pirate things, so you may want to get the game for that purpose. Now, the game rules come on a bunch of cards, and I think I'm going to explain the game correctly. Actually, I don't think that. And so you're going to probably, maybe some people will email me and tell me that I've gotten the rules wrong. Well, I'll tell you why I got the rules wrong. Because this is one of the worst written rule books I've ever seen to any game ever. It's on cards, which is already a bad idea. But it doesn't actually tell you how to play the game! So, here it does tell you different things. So let's see what we can glean from what the game tells us. You're going to have a bunch of different characters that are in this game, and you can see here that we have a sister, and we have a vagabond, and an advisor, and an instructor. And each of these cards is worth a certain amount of points. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to make a deck of cards for your team, basically, to fight somebody else. Then you're going to draw 3 of these cards, and then you're going to attack the other player. I'm not sure exactly how you attack, but what I think happens is you play a card in front of you, and then you can rush at somebody else on the table and get into melee combat against that person, or you can stand and shoot at them. When you're rushing them, I think they can shoot at you. Now, I do know how combat works. When combat works, you are going to turn over the top card of the deck, and you will see if you have hit the person. So, for example, if this gentleman here is shooting with his pistol, he needs to draw a spade or an ace. Well, I just drew the king of diamonds, so that would be a miss. Here, I've drawn the 4 of spades, so that would be a hit. Here, I draw the 7 of spades, that would be a hit. The 9 of clubs is a miss. So, if I had drawn the ace of clubs, that would have been a hit. And so when you take hits, each of these guys has a certain number of hit points, and then you will have to provide your own markers and put them on people and try to kill them. Now, one of the cards that one of the players is going to have is a pirate ship, and another person is going to have an island. I think from what the rules say that you can mix up the pirate fort and ship, and you can have one on each side. But since there's only one included in the set, I'm assuming the only way for that to happen is if you have multiple sets. Now, the different cards might have different abilities. See, this Pirateer counts as both a pirate and a privateer. This Buccaneer, evade cannot be used against a buccaneer. And this guy here, when played, draw 1 card from the locker. And fortunately, the game has a rule card that tells us what all the terminology is. But like I said, when you're going through it, you're really not clear sometimes on why terminology. Basically, the rules start out by saying, when attacking. Well, wait a minute, how do I attack? What can I do? How do I attack the other person? And okay, I'm not going to keep jumping all over these rules, but again, I do like the artwork. Now, it's interesting, they could have used die rolls to determine the results, but instead we use these cards, which is an interesting way to do it, because you see here, this guy can use a cutlass for 2 damage, and a spade, a diamond, or an ace. So the odds of that are slightly different than if he used the other weapon, which would just be a club or a spade. And you can see the pirate fort has different abilities. All the different guys have different weapons that they can use that have different percentages of the cards that you draw from the deck. I think the deck gets reshuffled at some points, and there's different ways to attack each other. And I think you win when you kill enough of the other persons. Although it's a little confusing. It says to win on this card. It says eliminate all the opponent's raiding party. Does that mean get rid of their entire deck, or just all the cards that they have out in front of them? I'm not really quite sure. But what I think happens is you're playing cards down and you're attacking your opponents, and the first one to kill each other off by drawing luckily from this deck of cards is the winner. I've gone to Board Game Geek and looked at there's a fact there. There's a lot of nice things that the designer did which should have been put into here. But let's say I think I have the rules right. Let's say I read all those facts and things from the designer. And let's say that the game plays exactly the way I think it does, which I may or may not be correct on. Okay, but even so, it's just a mediocre game. Fantastic artwork. Great artwork. I love the artwork. I like the theme. But when it comes down to it, building your deck with different cards, you don't know what order you're going to draw them, and you're playing cards, and it's kind of like I put some people in front of me, and I roll a bunch of dice, and you put some people in front of you and you roll a bunch of dice, and then we look and see who rolls dice the best. That's essentially what the game is. There's really no strategy. There's no tactical maneuvering. You're just putting a person out and then hoping to draw the right card. I think that mechanic of drawing a card from a deck and seeing if it's hearts or nines is an interesting one. That's an interesting mechanic that allows for a wide realm of probabilities to be used in combat. But when it comes down to it, that's all you're doing, is flipping cards and seeing what happens. So I really can't recommend this as is. A good rule book should have been included. The only thing I can see people buying this for is because it gives you a really nice deck of playing cards with a pirate theme. So maybe that you'd be interested in. Other than that, this is definitely a pass.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.